Hello, everybody. My name is Tom Llewellyn. I'm the executive director at Shareable, and we have been around for about the last 15 years or so. We collaborate with organizers and allies to imagine, resource, network, and scale cooperative projects. And we envision a just, connected, and joyful world where sharing is a daily practice and communities flourish. So our work over the last decade has looked very different. We're, have been most known for our publishing. We've published over 4,500 stories about the ways that people are sharing resources around the world, over 300 how-to guides, several books, podcasts. And in the last couple of years, we have been making a significant pivot to um, focus more on our organizing work and to kind of look at a number of the kind of the how-to guides and the articles, the products that we've been covering over the years, and thinking more deeply about how they can effectively be replicated and adapted in other communities around the United States and around the world. And that led us to Libraries of Things. Personally, I was the co-founder of the Asheville Tool Library. And for the last year and a half, we've been taking this kind of deep dive into Libraries of Things and using kind of a framework that we refer to as Solidarity Works, which looks at those partnerships with those models that have proven to be successful on the ground, and then creating systems of education and collaboration to be able to support that replication, as I was mentioning earlier. So today we're going to be releasing the Libraries of Things toolkit, and I have several other collaborators on here who are going to be talking as well. You can see Allison and Paige, who are both on the Shareable team, who allow themselves to introduce themselves right now. We also have Candace, who should be centered. Here we go. And Liana, who is not on the Shareable team, but was a primary partner throughout this work. Let's just do a quick Hollywood Squares.
Cool. I can
Candace, you
go.
want to go? Oh, yeah, go for it.
Oh, cool. I'm
Yep.
Paige. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the communications manager at Shareable.
Hi, everyone. I'm Candace Spivey. I use she and her pronouns, and I am the program manager for Solidarity Works.
And we got Liana on here.
Hey everyone, I'm Liana. I'm co-director at the Station North Tool Library in Baltimore, Maryland, and steering committee chair of the National Tool Library Alliance.
All right. Well, just very quickly want to kind of lay out the framework for this project and why we did it. Really getting down to why Libraries of Things. And one of the main reasons is that we have an issue of overconsumption, and there's deep impacts as a result of that overconsumption, both environmentally, but then also culturally as well. There's a lack of connection, people, selfishly grabbing things for themselves when they could be shared. And when really relationships can be deepened over that shared use of items, and deeper connection can be made through that. And so we look at Shareable, we think of Libraries of Things as being one of the kind of like ultimate sharing resources, community sharing hubs. If only every community had a Libraries of Things, how would things look? We're also
Okay.
we're not
One moment.
oh, got somebody there. Sorry. We're not naive, and we don't feel as if Libraries of Things unto themselves can completely fix our issues with consumption and extraction. But what I will say is that we follow a framework of prefigurative politics, which is to say that Libraries of Things aren't going to fix this big problem, but when we fix this big problem, there will need to be Libraries of Things. And so we're building that infrastructure now so that as we make this larger transition, we have the pieces in place to be able to serve our communities with goods and services that they need. And that's one of the driving things that led us to working on this larger Libraries of Things project. And I'm just going to pass it off over to Candace to kind of talk a little bit about the different components of the project over the last year that have led up to this moment.
All right, thanks, Tom. Again, I'm Candace Spivey. I am the program manager for Solidarity Works, which is Shareable's new program that focuses on action-based engagement with grassroots groups through learning and action collabs. So one of the collabs that we did today and that we're unveiling today is our Library of Things collab, where we engaged over 200 organizers and community leaders all over the globe on a 12-week course that includes training courses on topics to support organizers and anyone interested in setting up a library of things in their community. We provided online support along with a paid fellowship for 6 teams in marginalized communities, and that's what we're unveiling today. And so I want to talk a little bit about those 6 teams that we have engaged with. We have teams out of Hawaii, Boston, Massachusetts, Florida, and Texas. And we supported them through funding. We gave about roughly $10,000 to help them set up libraries within their communities. They engaged with the collab week to week and also in our monthly sessions that we started since everyone enjoyed the collab so good. And can I just take a second to thank everyone who engaged with us? We had regular attendance from about 50 people throughout the entire 12 weeks. And so we really appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing how you launch some of those things in your communities. And so Shareable totally believes that libraries of things support sustainability in their communities, and we were happy to be able to provide that funding for our fellows doing this pilot program, which have launched over the course of the year, and a couple more that'll be launching by spring and summer of 2025.
And some of the real exciting things that we've been doing with those pilot projects, and there's a number of folks that are participating in the fellowship on the call today, so thank you for joining us and being here as well, is we've been looking at various types of libraries of things. In Florida, looking at disaster response tools, which has been talked a fair bit about yesterday and today, especially focusing on the example from Hurricane Helene in Asheville and how necessary it is, especially for communities that are in disaster-prone areas like Florida, like to be able to have those tools to prepare and then recover from hurricanes when they come through. We've also been working with the University of North Florida and have been piloting a library of things on a university campus, which is another exciting opportunity that has not been developed as well as it could have. And then a project that I'm, maybe most excited about is in Houston, Texas, where we're working with Connect Communities to build a new library of things into a affordable housing development. And we'll be using that as a model to engage with other affordable housing developers around the US to build in those libraries of things resources there as well. So a lot of these pilots, have been growing over the last year, and they're starting to launch. We just had some launches in the last couple of weeks, and we're going to have more rolling out over the next couple of months. And that was just 3 of our 6 key projects. I also, as we transition to talking about this Libraries of Things toolkit, as Candace started by thanking everybody who participated and showed up for the collab, I also just want to thank everybody who was involved in the creation of this toolkit. We had, I think, about 20 different presenters who presented during the collab and brought their knowledge and expertise to the process. We also had a number of advisors on the project over the last, from 2 years ago as we started to develop this. And I just want to specifically acknowledge Amanda Miller from South King Tool Libraries, Emma Irwin from the Circular Community Scotland, Jean Homicki from My Turn, Jason Nauman from Green Lens and Rockwood Common, Kelly Dennings from the Center for Biological Diversity, and Liana from Station North Tool Library, who supported us throughout this project, again, from the kind of soup to nuts as we started getting going and now to this release. And so it really has been a team effort, and that's the way that we like to work at Shareable, is through collaboration. And a number of the presenters, we have Liana here representing the the National Tool Library Alliance, but that was really the group that didn't exist in that first year when we started developing this project. And if they had, that's exactly who we would have gone to partner. And so it's just been amazing to have that group coalesce as we were launching this project and being able to collaborate in year 2 of it. So just very now we have an opportunity to kind of actually showcase the toolkit. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And Paige, if you want to just talk us through some of the key highlights.
Yeah, sounds great. So we have illustrations throughout the toolkit made by Anka Dragnet, who's an illustrator based in Germany, which definitely makes it come more to life. So we have credits. And yeah, so this is the toolkit is under Creative Commons license. So the table of contents, the way it's set up, it was all based off the original collab with the different each weekly sessions. So that's why it's ordered this way, because that's how it happened. All those videos have been edited into chapters, so it's more digestible, and it's all linked throughout the toolkit, and it's all on YouTube. But the videos, you can just watch the videos, and that would be very comprehensive, or you could just read the toolkit, or you could do both. So they kind of go together, but can be used separately. Yeah, so each section we kind of break it down from the chapters, and then we have resources and templates in linked that were mentioned throughout the collab, but also in addition to ones that were mentioned. So, and then the live sessions are also linked at the bottom of each section. And we really want this to be a collaborative project that continues on. This is a live toolkit, a live document. So please never hesitate to reach out and give feedback, suggestions, ideas, whatever. We're really open to it. So you can email us at info@shareable.net, or even email me directly. I can drop those links in. But yeah, and we pulled out content. We want to make it more interesting and interactive. So there's a lot to consider in here. And most importantly, this is a 94-page, 96-page document. So this isn't meant to be read in one sitting. It's, skim it and then kind of sit with different sections that make most sense for you, but kind of go back. Because it is, comprehensive, which we wanted. And yeah.
Thanks, Paige.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, as Paige was saying, like this is a document to use, but it's also not completed. And we ran the first 12 weeks of the collab, and that's what this is from. We continue doing those monthly sessions that there's a number of people who are on today participated in. And we will be essentially adding, there's a web version of this toolkit, and then there's the PDF. And on the web version, we'll continue to make that live and add more and more content and update it as more things come. And then eventually we will do another version of the PDF as well. So today, and again, we're running pretty fast. We're going to try and have some time for questions and answer at the end, because we just have 30 minutes. But one of the things that I wanted to showcase, since we have Liana on here, is to go through one of the, to briefly go through one of the sections so you can kind of get a better feel for it. So Liana, I think you were going to talk about governance. Is that right?
I was, but we just had such a good operations chat just now. I was hoping we could do that section instead.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
it's relevant.
operations. That's fine.
Sure. Yeah, so each of these sections takes the content from the videos along with additional knowledge from the Tool Library Alliance mostly, and it kind of goes in a step-by-step manner to think about. It's mostly posing questions that you need to answer. Unfortunately, this is not going to start a tool library for you or a library of things. But these are some of the essential questions, considerations you need to move through in each of these different stages of development or growth. So the operations section is a combination of some of the nitty-gritty that we just talked about in the insurance section with also questions, as you'll find in most of these sections, about how your values and your culture and your community shape those nitty-gritty things. So there are some reflection questions about how your values and mission contribute. And then there are just some basic overviews on business structures. I will say this, I am based in the US. A lot of the content, when it relates to country-specific things like operations, is from primarily experience in the US. That's something I hope that we can build on in the future to make it more international. But this goes through some of the most common business structures that we see for libraries of things and some of the advantages and disadvantages of each of them. Could you scroll down a little more, Tom?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also goes through some of the processes required to do things like register as a nonprofit or find a fiscal sponsor. There are some links to guides for other countries as well. And then as you'll scroll a little further, there's some other structural considerations. So, nothing is necessarily cut and dry, but hopefully this will help you think about all the things you didn't know you needed to think about in advance. This section also covers staffing, which I know has been a really big question in this summit. How and who and how do we pay them and compensate them and structure them. So for folks who are just wondering just now about some of the 1099 W-2 divides, this section is, I think, really helpful for that. And it also goes into creating a well-supported environment for staff outside of your legal minimum requirements. This also talks about those basic kinds of insurance that you might need for your organization. So this is a good recap of that section. And then this is also going to reference Shareable's State of the Libraries of Things Industry report that came out earlier, was it this year? So this is also links through to some other really valuable resources as you think about your role in this larger Library of Things ecosystem. One of the reasons I wanted to highlight this section is that there are a lot of resources and templates here. Each section, when it references a document you might need to create or a process or a survey or a logo, we have tried to include actual examples from Libraries of Things. They are not all from SNTL. I did present this section, so that's why these are all from my library. But we wanted to give you concrete examples of some of these documents as a starting place. This also links some really valuable nonprofit software discounts that are available if you have 501c3 status in the US. So just wanted to highlight that this is not just the information in the document, it's also linking through to a lot of really valuable tangible resources. And as some folks mentioned, I know it came up in the chat, the original presentation, slide deck, transcript, and video recording are also here. So if you are interested in going back and reliving the magic of Colab, you can do that chapter by chapter thanks to Pages editing.
And I also want to say, a number of these sessions, and operations is one of them, governance is another, volunteers, while it's focused on libraries of things, and that's the kind of essentially the case study that we're working off of, the content within most of these sessions is relevant to any sort of repair project or really any community project you might be working on, and I think that that adds extra value. So even if you're not necessarily at the stage or will be at the stage of being interested in starting a libraries of things or growing the one that you already have, there's still so much content in here that's most likely relevant to what you're doing with your project or in your communities. And that was one of the design kind of elements that we wanted to have with this project, is that we did want to focus, make it, while it is focused on libraries of things, make it applicable to many other groups that are running sharing and community and repair projects. Let's go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Another thing that I just wanted to point out is at the end of this toolkit, which I didn't showcase because I was afraid of scrolling too fast and giving everybody turned stomachs, is that when you get to the end of the toolkit, we also have a very detailed appendix that has all of the resources laid out from section by section, and then also all of the links to the free self-paced online course. So there's lots of opportunities for choosing your own adventure and working through the content. As I mentioned earlier, there will be a version 2.0, and the next sections that we'll be adding to the web version of the toolkit are focused on the first one is fix-it fairs, repair cafes, and more. The next one is around community governance. And then we have 2 fundraising specific sections on digital fundraising and charitable grants. And all 4 of those sessions will be coming out, will be added to the web version monthly in 2025. And then, as I mentioned, our plan is to produce a version 2.0 of this guide by the end of next year, and potentially release it at next year's summit. We'll see. If we don't get to it before then, that would be a good opportunity. But I also want to say, as we were doing the collab, we did see that there was this open niche and this need for continued education, and for not only just supporting folks that were starting libraries of things and answering so many of the questions that were coming up on the Google group, time after time, but also to strengthen the field as a whole, that there is so much knowledge from existing libraries of things practitioners to be able to share with each other. And we wanted to create a space for that. And so it was awesome to have so many library of things organizers that were participating in the collab, being able to leave comments in the chat. And although this part of our project is kind of starting to come to an end, there is still this amazing, this important need for deepening that connection and that education. And so that's something I'm really excited that the Tool Library Alliance is going to be picking up in 2025. And Liana, you wanted to say just 2 minutes about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We welcome anyone to these, whether they're tool libraries, library of things, repair cafe, whatever. If it's useful, come. The first opportunity to get together will be our post-summit gathering on Tuesday, January 28th. I'll put this in the chat too, at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. That'll be an hour for us to see who's interested in mostly like growth-focused conversations. So starting a library of things, adding one to your organization, growing and strengthening your organization. The Tool Library Alliance is made up of established libraries that lend tools, not just tools. And if you're interested in joining the Alliance, we will be meeting monthly as well. So starting in January, we are going to be picking up the monthly cadence of these collab sessions. So we will be sharing information about topics and timing with both anyone who emails hello@toollibraryalliance.org, anyone on our international Google group. That information about how to connect with us is all going to be a part of our closing, and I'll put it in the chat. So we're really excited to continue this great collab model.
Yeah, thanks for that, Liana. And we'll be continuing to participate in that, as well as Shareable, and then hopefully those potentially for the first 6 months of those sessions will find their way into the version 2.0 of the toolkit as we continue this partnership. So I've just put the link to download the PDF in the chat. Candace, I don't know if you want to say anything about that at all, or you want me to just keep going?
Sorry, I was trying to find the unmute button, but yeah, we can keep going. We put a lot of work into it. So yeah, if you have any questions, please email us. We're happy to answer any and all questions.
Yeah. So where things are at now with it is we're going to be working on a Spanish version and a print-friendly version of the toolkit, which will both most likely be coming out in January. So know that there's going to be increased accessibility around this resource, and we'll do both a Spanish, most likely a Spanish web version, and then also the printable PDF version will be Spanish, and potentially this whole graphic one as well. So we'll be working on that. That's going to be another project, like I said, coming in January. And the things that we can use support at this stage on a couple of fronts. So one, this is an amazing guide. It's taken so much work to put in it, and now it needs to get used. And in order to get used, we need to find the right places and the right people who are interested in using it, the best networks to share it around, and so that it actually can really have the impact that we're looking for. Our goal at Shareable is to have 100 new libraries of things launched within the next 5 years. And this is one tool for that. The direct support through our fellowship program, the creation of these pilots on university campuses and in public housing, all of this is going towards that larger goal. But we need support to get this toolkit out. So if you're share it on social media. If there are communities or organizations that you think we should be talking to, please go ahead. Please, send us an email, and you can email me directly. Paige, if you can drop my email in the chat. Email me directly if there's partnership opportunities. The other thing is that this project required a ridiculous amount of work goes into it, far more than we even anticipated, a lot more than any toolkit that we've ever created before. And as I mentioned before, it wouldn't have been possible without our partners, but it also wouldn't be possible without the needed funding to be able to produce this. And we were unfortunate to not get a dedicated grant to be able to produce this project. So we're in our end of year fundraising period right now. If you like the guide, if you think you're going to use in your community, if you could chip in even $5, we've got a $10,000 match that we're trying to meet right now. We're just below $6,000 to meet that match before the end of the year. If you can chip in a few bucks, anything at all helps out a lot, goes a long way. Personally, I would rather have 100 people donating $5 than 5 people donating $100, because it shows that what we produced is needed and useful for the community. So I just put a link to our donate, our end of year fundraising campaign in the chat. And then also, when it comes to promotion and marketing, like, are there podcasts? Are there other, journalists who you think might be interested in this? Are there places that we can kind of reach larger audiences through mass media? Also looking for suggestions around that. And you can, again, send me an email at tom@shareable.net. I think we only have a few minutes, but if there are any questions for us, please either put them in the chat. If I have any questions, put them up, and otherwise feel free to unmute yourself and just ask us directly.
And don't be shy to go ahead and hit the download. We would really appreciate that.
Sorry, I don't know if you can. I haven't got my camera on because it's quite late here in the UK. It looks really good. I had a quick download of it while you were speaking.
Yeah.
I love the graphics, the illustrations, wonderful, and I think it's, the collab was really interesting. Obviously, not all of it is translatable to where we are, like governance and stuff like that is very bit different here. But we spent years developing our toolkit in English and Welsh, so we feel your pain.
Yeah.
It is an ongoing labor of love. But I think there's definitely like opportunities for more sharing and things like that. And I would love to have a chat with someone about that at some point, maybe offline, give anyone else an opportunity to speak now. But yeah, I'd really love to talk about it a bit more. And probably Leanna, I'd probably like to talk to you like with the Tool Alliance and stuff, because I think there's opportunities there too. Brilliant. Thanks so much for all your hard work, and it looks really good. And I love the collab. I went every week, so yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you for joining us every week, Fran. I remember seeing you on, so thank you.
Yeah, just existing, there was a question about our existing funding sources. We have a mix of individual donations. Most of our funding comes through partnerships, so we do get foundation funding for various projects. But we just weren't able to get one for this yet. We are still going after getting additional funding. We were able to get some funding to support our fellows through the project through a lot of local funders. But that's one of the other things that we're raising money for right now is to provide enough seed funding to be able to actually get all of these fellow projects off the ground.